It's no secret that St. Louisans love their beer, and with Oktoberfest quickly approaching, raise your pints as we take a look at our rich and flavorful brewing history.
Hello, my name is Nathan Jackson. This is Nathan's Neighborhood History.
On the very southern edge of Soulard, in and past the Thomas Allen addition, originally there was a suburb known as St. George, which was laid out by St. Louis's first mayor. In that area, there were a lot of underground caves, and due to the favorable condition of these caves, many of the German immigrants who came to St. Louis in the 1840s and 1850s began to set up breweries in this area. By the later part of the 19th century, there were many notable breweries and beer barons in Soulard. This includes breweries such as the Bavarian Brewery, which later became Anheuser-Busch. The Griesedick family even established a brewery here. You can learn more about them in this guided tour of the Griesedick Beer Baron family's house. This is the home of Louis Aubert. He was the owner and proprietor of the Arsenal Brewery, which was just across the street from what is now Anheuser-Busch. In 1886, Louis Aubert decided to build the second Empire-style mansion just across the street from the brewery. Originally, the Arsenal Brewery featured a logo with an A with a flying eagle, just like the Anheuser-Busch logo. But later on, their brewery was changed to Louis Aubert Brewery, and they had the flying eagle going through the Louis Aubert logo. Louis Aubert lived in this mansion for many, many years, and it remained in the family until his daughters passed away in the 1950s. Today, it is one of the more architecturally significant Second Empire homes here in the Soulard neighborhood. As you can see, up top it has a rounded window piece as well as several copper embellishments all along the slated mansard roof. This row of houses on South 12th Street is colloquially known as Ripple Row, and this is because each of the Second Empire style row houses has a bay window creating a ripple effect with a row. These were built in 1878, and one of the residents of Ripple Row in its early days was a guy named Anton Beck, who was head of the Schilling & Schneider Brewery working in the Soulard area. Also living in the row was a tobacco baron named Joseph Schlong. St. Louis, at the time, was one of the major tobacco industry leaders in the country, with tobacco factories such as Christian Pepper and Luget and Meyer. Ripple Row is one of the most photographed rows of houses in the Soulard neighborhood. Here we have the house of Henry Nicholas and William Heil. Henry Nicholas was the secretary for the Green Tree Brewery, and he had this house built here overlooking the Mississippi River. A lot of brewers and other wealthy St. Louisans built their houses in the hills of southern Soulard in order to overlook the river. However, in 1888, Henry Nicholas had another house built on 12th Street in the Second Empire style. It features a lot of terracotta brickwork as well as some stonework and is fairly significantly ornate. While he was living here, he was promoted at the brewery and took over as the president. At the time, he sold the house to William Heil, who became the next secretary of Green Tree Brewery. William Heil had this carriage block installed with his initials on it. At the corner of 12th and Sydney is the Lion House. This house, owned by Maximilian J. Feuerbacher, is known as such because it was one of the first houses in St. Louis to display lion statues out front. A fun side note is that the house also included a pipe organ. Originally, Feuerbacher had a flounder house at 11th and Sydney, built in the mid-19th century vernacular style. But as the owner and proprietor of the Green Tree Brewery, he became very successful and quickly upgraded his lifestyle by moving into this large Italianate-style house with a cupola at 12th and Sydney. It was owned by Feuerbacher until his death when he went to visit Germany in the 1880s. Unfortunately, he would never return from this trip as he died 10 days after arriving in Germany. His family continued to live in the house until the 1920s. Another significant house of a beer baron was the home of Christian Marquand Forster. This home was originally built in 1872 in the Italianate style and appears on the 1875 Compton and Dry map as the Brown House. It was purchased by Forster, who was in charge of the Hyde Park Brewery and also associated with St. Louis's Brewing Association, which was a conglomerate of all of the smaller brewers in St. Louis. He bought the house in 1890 and upgraded it to the Romanesque Revival style. This is one of the largest houses in the Soulard neighborhood and continues to be to this day. The oldest of the beer barons' houses is the house of René Beauvais, who had the house built in 1854. René Beauvais was a silversmith downtown. At the time, this area was far out in the country. In 1867, it was bought by William Stump, who owned the Stump Brewery. This house was still owned by Stump at the time of the 1875 Compton and Dry map's creation. When Stump acquired the house, it was an Italianate-style home that featured a large cupola and a gallery porch. After many years, it was converted into a Second Empire-style house, though the mansard was later removed in favor of featuring a flat roof. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss any of St. Louis's rich and wonderful history. I'll see you next time on this house. All of the information for this video was provided by Nathan Jackson, the owner of St. Louis History and Architecture. You can find a link to the Facebook page for St. Louis History and Architecture down below in the description. St. Louis History and Architecture offers guided walking tours of these houses where you can learn even more information about their inhabitants and their very interesting histories.